What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tales from the Shelf. I just got home from the movie theater, and as the title of this video would indicate, I just watched In a Violent Nature. I had been anticipating this film for a couple months now. It's been on my radar for a little bit. I was initially sold on just the base premise, which if you know about the movie, then you know it's basically being billed as a slasher film from the perspective of the slasher. And the trailer also is giving a lot of Friday the 13th vibes, which I'm a huge mark for that. So all of those things compounded, I was in. It's been a tough year for horror so far. You know, we've had things like Night Swim, Imaginary, Strangers Chapter 1. The year's really, we're halfway through the year and we're only being propped up by like The First Omen. It's been a tough year. So I'm going to bury the lead here and just go ahead and say that this movie fucking rips. This movie has the juice. Some of the initial things that a lot of people have been saying are the movie looks great, which it does. I'll just get that out of the way right now. The movie looks beautiful. It is filmed in this very picturesque mountainous landscape. It's very picturesque, it looks beautiful, and it's shot gorgeously. So I'm going to talk a little spoilers in this review. That being said, I am going to talk generic things. I won't go into detail, so if you don't want to know anything at all, just know that if you like slasher films, particularly Friday the 13th, you will most likely enjoy this movie. If you don't really want to know more than that, I would suggest skipping off of this and then maybe coming back later down the road. Okay, so the movie begins, and pretty much from the beginning, we're given the motivation of this killer, who goes by Johnny. From the opening shot, we see this necklace dangling, and some teens take the necklace, and from the ground rises up Johnny, who is just this beefy boy. He's a big boy, and he's looking for his necklace. We're able to piece this together through the context clues. And so right away, we understand what Johnny wants. We see his necklace taken. Right following that, he rises up out of the ground and goes in search of the teens and the necklace. What this does is gives exposition through just by showing, not telling, which is something that I love in movies. We're able to understand why Johnny's doing what he's doing, where he's going, which goes a long way to helping us get invested as well. So Johnny follows the teens to a cabin of sorts, and what do you know, they're having a campfire. Now this campfire scene is where we get the bulk of our exposition for the film, and it feels like it's ripped like straight out of like Mad Men, The Burning, Friday the 13th Part 2, like all these great camp slasher films, and I loved it. What that tells me as a viewer is that having seen all of these movies, not only am I clearly in for a treat because the director clearly knows what he's doing, and he's obviously doing this as tribute, homage to those movies. So it lets me know that we're in like the right hands. You know, this guy, director Chris Nash, I don't think I've seen anything else that he's done, but I'm bought in on any future projects because, as I've already mentioned, I love this movie. So through this expository campfire scene, we see Johnny off in the background, and he's watching the large group of teens as they recount the story of Johnny. And it's like this urban legend, fairy tale, you know, sort of thing. What I really love about this scene is that we know that Johnny's in the background watching them because, for the most part, this entire movie follows Johnny's POV. So the implication there, at least for me, is that for all of these other slasher films that do something similar, the implication is that the killer is watching them, only we don't ever see them because we're following the main characters, the teenagers. But with this movie, it almost like it's like we're peeling back the curtain a little bit and seeing the process, the methodology of a killer like Johnny, like Jason Voorhees, like Cropsey, etc. So throughout the course of this expository scene, we see one of the teenagers with the necklace, and Johnny clocks it, and he says, okay, I'm going after this guy. And so the rest of the movie plays out with Johnny taking these very picturesque, very breathtaking walks through the wildlife in search of the teenager with his necklace. And what follows is what I can only describe as some of the most amazing kills I've ever seen in a slasher film. I mean, some of these kills had me like, I was like, just had the biggest grin on my face. Like, it was me and like one other couple in the theater. And I don't know if they knew what movie they were really there to see, because they didn't seem to like the one kill. I fucking loved it though. The other thing that I really like about this movie is that there is no score. You do hear music throughout the film, but it's diegetic. It's being played in the background, and it's being played by like the teenagers, which leads me into like the sound design of this movie is so brilliant, because since we're following Johnny, we hear things off in the distance, and as he gets closer, it becomes louder and we're able to hear it better. And it really just serves to give this feeling of we're right over Johnny's shoulder, like watching him do his thing, which is just, it's such a unique spin on this slasher genre, which has been done a million ways to Sunday. And yet somehow they've managed to find a way to make it feel unique and like something fresh. So with the teenagers, with the limited time we spend with them, through their conversations, we're able to glean like a little bit of a backstory. And what it amounts to is like the exact sort of thing you'd expect to find in a movie like Friday the 13th. I think there's like, they hint at like a love triangle and, things like that. One of the characters mentions going to meet up with some gas station girls, which, look, I'd have to see the gas station girls to fully weigh in, but like, I don't know, man. If there was nothing else going, I'd go meet up with the gas station. I'd see what they were up to, But look, anyway, I digress. If you've seen the film, then you know what I'm referring to here. But you don't get a ton of this backstory. It's only ever gleaned when Johnny is around these characters. And so it almost feels like incidental. And some people would probably look at that and be like, I wanted some more characterization. I wanted maybe a little bit more like something to connect with, to latch onto, you know what I mean? And to me, it was very clear that that was so not the point. Like, we're following Johnny, and there's a moment where he's about to kill some characters, and they're able to stop him and delay him for a bit. And it was funny because in that moment, I found myself like, oh, come on, like, get him, Johnny. Like, you want to see him kill these teenagers, because after you sort of realize what's happened to him and what the teenagers have done, Johnny's clearly the very sympathetic character here. And that is sort of all in line with the very clear Friday the 13th inspiration here. The movie's very clearly trying to do a Friday the 13th love letter, and it's not hiding it, it's not shy about it, and it's so earnest and just so thoughtful. You can tell the people behind this movie love this genre, and they wanted to put their own spin on it. Johnny is slow. He is disabled, handicapped, whatever word you want to describe it as. And so some of his kills play out almost like a kid like shining a magnifying glass on an ant, or like picking the wings off of flies. He's a child, basically. He's not developed mentally, and so his kills sort of reflect that. He doesn't display any mercy or restraint when he is killing, and it's almost like he's just playing. Like, it's really, really brilliant stuff. The gore, the practical effects in this were outstanding. Really, really enjoyed that aspect of the film. As we know, with some of the Friday the 13th films, the kills are they're not really some of them are standouts, but for the most part, the MPAA hacked most of those kills to pieces. So this felt like them saying, fuck the MPAA, we're going to do our Friday the 13th, and we're going to show you everything. And they do. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, guys. This might be the best modern slasher film I've ever seen. I'm buzzing right now. I just got home from the theater, so it's possible I could come down a tad, but I'm at like a 4.5 out of 5 with this. It's 90 minutes, it's paced perfectly. The slow, methodical nature of it, following Johnny, a lot of people are hailing criticisms at this where it's just a guy walking through the woods, and it's like, sure, but it's a 90-minute film, and the payoffs are so great that I don't mind spending a little bit of the runtime just watching a guy walk through what I've said are these really beautiful environments. You know, I found that aspect to work really well. It's almost like you've taken this, you've combined just like a B slasher movie from the 80s, but it like has the look and feel of like a nature documentary. It's really quite peaceful. What you're left with is this really effective slasher film, and I absolutely fucking love this. If this sounds like something that would be up your alley, definitely check it out. It is so great. I know it'll be on Shudder sometime later in the year if you don't want to make it out to the theater to check it out, but I would suggest doing so because even though there is no score, the sound design is really great, and the picturesque environments they warrant a theatrical visit. So I would say go out and support this thing if it sounds like something that you'd be into. Alright guys, so with all that said, In a Violent Nature, my favorite horror film of the year, and we've still got a lot of good shit to come. Longlegs, Maxine, Nosferatu, Alien Romulus. We got some good shit on the way, so this is shaping up to be a good year for horror, even though it is very, not front-loaded, but like back-loaded. I don't know, that doesn't sound right, but you know what I'm saying. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? What did you like about it? What you didn't like about it? All that fun stuff. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed to this channel. I don't do a ton of new movie reviews. I tend to focus on other areas of film and collecting in particular. Yeah, check out some of the other videos I've done. I actually made an entire video all about summer camp slashers. I'll try to link that up here. With that in mind, take care and watch more horror movies.